Hello, everyone. My name is John, founder of SHIELDCO Insurance. Thank you for tuning in today and finding yourself on this landing page. So today we are going to discuss not the most exciting stuff in the world, however, very, very important. What insurance program do you have in place if one of your loved ones passes away and is no longer with us? It's like I said before, it's not the most exciting stuff to talk about, but it's very, very important. 53% of foreclosures are due to death or disability. So if that happens, what happens to the house payment? What happens to all the bills? What happens to the kids' college education? Is your loved one that you left behind, are they still going to be able to stay in the house? Are they still going to be able to stay in the school district? This is stuff that we just don't ever think about because it's not fun to think about. So that is what we're going to go over today. I'm just going to do a quick video because the question that we get all the time is, John, I feel the need that I do need to have something, but how much is it? How much of it do I have to have? How do I go about getting it? So we're going to kind of uncover a lot of those questions that we have today. Number one, how much is it? We are an independent broker. And if you don't know what that means is as an independent broker, we work for you. We don't work for any one insurance company. In terms of price, we have some of the best prices in the industry. We have over 50 different insurance companies that we go through. So we could definitely find you the best prices. In terms of getting it, with this particular insurance program, it's age effective and health effective. So the younger you are, the cheaper it is. The healthier you are, the cheaper it is. However, I know a lot of us do have some health issues, but please do not worry. Do not let that keep you from actually applying for it and see if you qualify. Because as I said before, we have over 50 different companies. We can find you coverage. So the next question is, how much do I need, John? So there's a couple of questions that I ask individuals that is kind of a formula to help determine the amount of insurance that we actually need on our life in the event one of us were to pass away. So let's dig into that. So let's say, for instance, you're driving on the road and somebody runs a stoplight, T-bones you. You get a knock on the door. Hey, Mrs. So-and-so, we actually lost your husband tonight. In that event, would you, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. In that event, would you want the mortgage taken care of? So let's say for this particular scenario that the mortgage is 250,000. Yeah. That seems to be a pretty average mortgage nowadays with home prices. Mrs. Smith, in the event of your husband's passing, would you want the debt taken care of? Yes. Average debt in America is around 15 to 20,000. We'll say 15,000 for this particular scenario. Mrs. Smith, in the event that we lost your husband, he brings in a pretty good income. Would you want some kind of income replacement to give you time to be able to grieve? I'm not sure about you all, but I don't know what I would do if my wife were to pass away. So I would want options. I would want some time to be able to grieve because I don't know what I would be feeling or what I would be thinking at that time. But I know the last thing I want to worry about, the last thing I want to think about is how I'm going to be able to keep my kids in the house. How am I going to pay all these bills? How am I going to replace my spouse's income? So on and so forth. So I always tell everybody to try to shoot over on this one because we could always come back down. Okay. So let's say, for instance, this individual makes $85,000 a year. I think that's what I calculated. Hold on. 85 times. Yeah, they make $85,000 a year and they want to be able to satisfy that income for 5 years. to give them some time, whether they want to go back to school, get a college education, whatever, 5 years seems to be pretty sufficient. So let's say 85,000 for 5 years, that comes to $425,000. Yeah. The next one, college education. I know some parents like being able to provide for their kids' college education and pay for it. Others want them to pay for their own way. Again, for this particular scenario, we're going to kind of shoot ahead here and always kind of overcompensate. So let's say Mrs. Smith wants her kids' college education taken care of, so she doesn't have to worry about paying for it and have that financial burden on her. So let's say $20,000 a year for a college education, 4 years, 2 kiddos, $160,000. Okay. Final expense in the state of Missouri, you should be able to pay for a funeral for about $15,000. So let's go ahead and total that up. We have $250,000 paying off the mortgage. We have $15,000 in debt, whether that's credit card, car loans, whatever. That's probably a little low if we're taking in consideration car loans. But for this particular case, let's just keep it at 15,000. Income replacements, 85,000 for 5 years, 425,000. College education, 2 kiddos, $20,000 a year, 160,000. Final expense puts you in the ground, 15,000. So Mrs. Smith, if your husband got into a car accident and the deputy showed up at your front door, knocked on it and said, God forbid, we lost your husband tonight, you would have a total of $865,000 in insurance, a check delivered directly to you from one of us, your insurance agents, so you could put and force this plan that you went over. Again, guys, this is about giving you options. We want to be able to give you options, because the last thing that you want to do is come up short and not being able to pay for something. Again, I don't know what I would do if my spouse passed away, or what I would be thinking, or what I'd be feeling. So I hope that this particular scenario gave you a pretty good idea. So the next step is just filling out the form below. Go ahead and hit submit. And with that, we'll be able to run some quotes for you and some prices, and then we'll be in contact with you. Now, the prices that we give you doesn't mean that that's what you have to go forward with. We could custom tailor it. That way it fits within your budget and your means. Because the last thing we want to do is, yeah, we have this great plan in place for you, but we can't even pay for it. So we'll talk with you and we'll discuss with you and put together a good budget and plan that meets a happy medium. And then the next step would just be filling out the application. Now, once you fill out the application, that does not make you obligated to go forward with it. That is just submitting it to underwriting to see if it even gets approved. And then once underwriting comes back and says, okay, everything looks great, we go ahead and go forward. At that point, it's 100% up to you whether you want to go forward with it. So that's kind of the process of how we put together these insurance plans for our families. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us via phone, text, email, whatever your means of communication is. And we look forward to helping you protect your future. Thank you so much.